So, hello everybody. Hola a todos y todas. Bom dia. We're very excited to have you all here. So, we just give you the welcome to our fifth Colloquium of Geopolitics of Energy, organized by the Latin American Observatorium of Geopolitics of Energy at the UNILA University, the Latin American University for Federal Integration. We're very honored to have such amazing speakers today. And the topic of our event is energy transition challenges for BRICS countries and Latin America. So we want to explore a little bit the relationship with BRICS, also to understand what strategies can be leveraged with the Latin American region and cooperation itself in specific topics like cooperation through nuclear, international cooperation, energy transition, and nuclear geopolitics, sustainability, critical minerals, and innovation, and just energy transition. So without further ado, what I'm going to do is I'm going to introduce some of our lecturers. Basically, what we're going to do is to have a debate. We're going to have several questions for our lecturers, but please feel free to ask your questions in the chat or in the platform, as well as we have people joining our platform. So yeah, thank you very much. So I'll give first of all the word to Alex Kormishin. Can you hear us, Alex? So Alex is the president of the BRICS Youth Energy Agency, and he's been an associate and advocating for youth integration in the BRICS countries throughout the last, I don't know, 8 years or more. So we are very excited to welcome you, Alex. So please just take the floor.
Thank you, Joyce, very much, and I hope you can hear me well. It's immense pleasure to participate in the Colloquium of Energy Geopolitics. I guess from the very beginning, I've been participating in this amazing event organized by the Observatory of Latin American Observatory of Geopolitics in the energy sector. It is immense pleasure to address the participants of this colloquium because one of the key topics that's been identified for this forum is energy in the BRICS countries. And BRICS YEA, BRICS Youth Energy Agency, has been there for the last 7 years, consolidating young people around the energy issues of the BRICS countries. And it is just an amazing job that Joyce and the team's been doing in Latin American Observatory throughout the years, empowering young people in the Latin American countries, especially in Paraguay and Brazil. So reverting back to what BRICS agenda for this year and next year might be, also in terms of the youth in the energy sector. So you're all aware that 2023 has been the year of presidency of South Africa in the BRICS community. And the key agenda that's been developed throughout the presidency was around enabling energy transition for Africa. But it was not all about Africa this time. It was wide open for the so-called global south. I believe that the current presidency that is still being held by South Africa has really changed the perspective how BRICS countries look at the energy cooperation. It has come a long way from five-party scenario planning and looking what might energy cooperation look like. And today, we can definitely say that the BRICS community is not only for 5 countries, but it's for a broader global south. As we know, following the BRICS Summit, an expansion has been announced, and some of the countries will be joining the community. And I believe that this is not going to be an end for its welcoming processes of new members. Young people have been a major trigger for this cooperation, especially in the energy sector. I believe that the energy cooperation that's been developed and run by BRICS YA has become a prototype for the building of the so-called expert level of cooperation. Today, the BRICS Energy Research Cooperation Platform has issued a number of research papers, especially the one on the energy security and the other one on the BRICS energy transition skills. And these reports are also reflecting the perspective of Latin American continent, especially Brazil, when it comes to the new skills that are required for building a sustainable energy in Brazil. One of the key takeaways that comes from the report on the skills, especially where young people have been part of this process, that Brazil is already there. A lot of energy produced in the country is produced through hydropower, and the part of the generation that is distributed to, let's say, oil production is minimized. So when we look at Brazil, it's one of the flagship examples how the so-called energy mix might look like, and it's already so-called green. With regards to the new skills that might be useful for the Brazilian landscape and for the whole Latin America, that young people are looking towards more of engineering professions. This is a so-called post scenario for the so-called developed energy landscape when it comes to the so-called green, and you don't have to, let's say, introduce rather more of high-tech solutions for the energy mix, because it's already balanced. So you prepare more of engineering. We prefer more of engineers to dive into the development of energy sector and to make it more of a stable one. So this is what I took from the report. As for the next year, just would like to notice that I want that our BRICS community consolidates for two countries. Next year is going to be Russian presidency, and Brazil is going to be hosting an enormous number of events dedicated to G20 and the Clean Energy Ministerial. So I would like to invite all of you who are watching us today online and participating in this opening, that we consolidate among the Brazilian agenda within these, I'd say, three major country groups that are working in the energy landscape. Although G20 participation is very much limited to governmental officials, while there is Youth 22, Clean Energy Ministerial is more open. So we are, as BRICS YA, working towards making the youth parallel happen. And I believe that if it's going to be a doable solution, and we will make a way forward to young people to engage more into, let's say, bringing some of innovative solutions to Brazil, it's going to be a great opportunity for BRICS countries to stand for the balanced solution for the energy transition. It's not about Brazil bringing innovative solutions because they are already there. It's about Brazil becoming a flagship chair for the discussions, because Brazil has enough experience, and it's also has innovative solutions in terms of hydropower generation. We believe that if the Foz do Iguaçu as a city, a hosting city, also the great example for innovations in hydropower might host us next year, this could also be a great example for young people who are looking towards clean energy generation, and sometimes hydro is somewhere behind. So we think that next year would also highlight hydropower generation as part of the green generation solutions. So with regards to next year on BRICS OI activities in Russia, so we're already starting to prepare the BRICS Youth Energy Summit. and it's going to be also a flagship event to address the youth agenda. Just a few minutes ago, I had a conversation with our partners from the Geostrata, because the guys will be tightly engaged into producing the outlook for next year. So I would just like to invite everyone again to contribute the efforts to building a successful Outlook 2024, while the Outlook 2023 is still underway and it's going to be published by the end of November. Hopefully, it's going to be presented at COP28. So we are trying to do the alignment with our host this year, which is the Department of Mineral Resources and Energy. So I'd like to thank you once again for inviting myself, and I would like to wish, as always, great success to the Colloquium of Energy Geopolitics, and I believe with great leadership that it has, it's going to be a successful conference and exchange between young people of the Global South. Thank you.
Спасибо большое. Thank you so very much. We're very grateful to have such a great introduction. And obviously, just mentioning that also Alex has been working since 2015 as well, gathering youth. And also we were being in contact since 2017. And it's been such a long but very interesting walk. So we look forward as well to see how it's going to be the next year and the next years as well in Brazil. So thank you very much, Alexander. We know you got to leave at the moment, but please, to our participants, if you have questions, please leave it register and we will reach you with the questions if this is okay. Perfect. Thank you very much, Alex. So continue with our conversation, and as we have a panorama, a little bit of the BRICS cooperation as well, youth engagement and participation. I also would like to give the word to Professor Fabio Borges. Dr. Fabio Borges is the director of the Latin American Institute of Economy, Society, and Politics of the Latin American University for Integration, UNILA, and is also one of the curator of the BRICS, and he's also been promoting BRICS cooperation and participation in UNILA. Thanks to Fabio as well, we started working a lot to engage and to bring the BRICS agenda, not just to youth, but also through different sectors in Brazil and especially as well in Foz do Iguaçu. So Fabio, please take the floor.
Good morning. I would like to thank the organization of the event, especially Joyce, who is mediating our debate. I also thank my colleagues from the other BRICS countries, Alexander, Princess, and Mujeb. Can I put my presentation, please?
Yes, please go ahead. You can share screen.
Okay, thank you so much. Well, my proposal will be to evaluate the potential and challenges faced by the possible entry of new members in the BRICS, with I emphasize on energy, economic, political, and culture issues. For this, I will use some fragments from the final declaration of the last BRICS Summit in South Africa. Well, in the point 2, we reaffirm your commitment to the BRICS spirit of mutual respect and understanding, sovereignty, equality, solidarity, democracy, openness, inclusiveness, strategic collaboration, and consensus. Here, it's very important partnership for inclusive multilateralism. I would like to emphasize the point 7. We support a comprehensive reform of the United Nations, including its Security Council, with a view to making it more democratic, representative, effective, and efficient, and to increase the representation of development countries in the Council's membership so that it can adequately respond to prevailing global challenges and support the three legitimate aspirations of emerging development countries for Africa, Asia, and Latin America, including Brazil, India, and South Africa, to play a greater role in international affairs, in particular in the United Nations, including its Security Council. Partnership for mutually accelerated growth. We recognize the key role of the new Development Bank in promoting infrastructure and sustainable development of its member countries. I would like to emphasize that in this final declaration, they said, we congratulate Mrs. Dilma Rousseff, former president of the Federative Republic of Brazil. It's interesting. We welcome to 3 new members of the new development bank, namely Bangladesh, Egypt, United Arab Emirates. I would like to emphasize this because Dilma Rousseff was very important in the creation of the new development bank of BRICS. Here it's in Spanish, but it are 3 important moments for the creation of this important bank in the international system now. One point I would like to emphasize too, partnership for sustainable development. We welcome Brazil candidates to host COP, Conference of Climate Change, as the year 2025 will be key the future of the global response to climate change. Deepen people-to-people exchange. I think it's the spirit of this discussion now. We reaffirm the importance of BRICS people-to-people exchanges in enhancing mutual understanding, friendship, and cooperation. We appreciate the progress made under South Africa Chairship in 2023, including in the fields of media, culture, education, sports, arts, youth, civil society, and academic exchange, and knowledge that people-to-people exchange play an essential role in enriching our society development, our economy. And finally, in this declaration, institutional development, this is new in the group. This is a new challenge for the group. We have decided to invite Argentina Republic, the Arabian Republic of Egypt, the Federal Democratic Republic of Ethiopia, the Islamic Republic of Iran, the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, and the United Arab Emirates to become full members of BRICS from 1 January 2024. The last point in this final declaration in South Africa, we can see Brazil, India, China, and South Africa extended their full support to Russia for its BRICS chairship in 2024. This is very important in the context of Ukraine war, in my opinion. In this way, I would like to point a final consideration, final reflections about this challenger from the spatial of BRICS group. First, how will the entry of new members, including large oil producers in the world, change the BRICS lines of action? 2, how can a new BRICS Development Bank contribute to sustainable development in the world? 3, is the BRICS new development bank complementary or concurrent with the multilateral international institutions such as the World Bank? 4, how do political issues growing trade rivalry between the United States and China and the war in Ukraine affecting the group's internal dynamics. Are consensual decisions possible? 5. Could debates on democracy and human rights generate disagreement now with a great number of actors in debate? 6. Was the expansion of members with the BRICS a diplomatic defeat for Brazil? And now I would like to make some speculations. My perspective is about the 6 questions. The presence of large oil producers and consumers in the group makes it difficult to build an energy transition proposal. However, it is possible to use the resources for further research on renewable energy. The new BRICS Development Bank has acted to support the green economy. It has acted more in partnership than in opposition to other multilateral institutions. The growing rivalry between the USA and China and the war in Ukraine has impacted the internal dynamic of the group, which has increasingly become an institution in opposition to U.S. rather than a simple group of emerging countries that advocate reforms in multilateral institutions. The theme of democracy and human rights, with the expansion of the group's members, away loses centrality due to the more conservative authoritarian profile of some of the possible new members. Finally, the expansion of BRICS member was inevitable. Despite Brazil losing relative power, it's a permanent member of the United Nations Security Council, was supported explicitly in the final communique of the last summit in South Africa. It will be very difficult with the expansion of the new members, the consensus decision, which could lead to decision-making paralysis on some controversial topics. So thanks so much. This is my reflections about the expansion of the BRICS, the new challenges about this. Thank you so much.
Muito obrigado, Professor Fábio. Thank you very much for this comprehensive panorama to also bring an abstract as well to the people who perhaps, especially from Latin America, who are being introduced to the BRICS, a little bit of the geopolitical arena, the negotiations, the perspectives, also the outcomes as well as part of the LAT summit. So yeah, I think you create a great line connecting actually from what we said on the road to COP, and as well understanding, like the presidency of Brazil of G20 next year. Well, it starts this year, but it will roll out as well throughout the next year. 2025, we're going to have as well the presidency of the BRICS countries. And in 2025, we're also going to have a COP in the Amazon. I think this is very important and strategic for us, not just Brazil, but Latin America, to find a position, but also to understand that through cooperation, we're going to sort several issues regarding energy transition. And as we talk a lot about South Africa, so this is the moment as well that I'm going to pass the floor to Princey. So Princess, thank you very much for joining us. She has a huge bio. I'm just going to try to be to do an abstract of her work. So she's the founder of Africa for Nuclear. She's a South African nuclear communicator with more than 13 years of experience in this sector, and she has successfully cooperated with major nuclear stakeholders like the EIA, the WNU, and the African Young Generation in Nuclear, Women in Nuclear South Africa, and International Science and Technology Center as well. And basically, she's not just a communicator, but also a huge advocate. And at the same time, she's also being a lot of success in the social medias, demystifying and explaining what nuclear technologies are. So welcome, Francie. We're very excited to have you. So we're just gonna open as well to your remarks, but actually as well we have a lot of questions from what do you think as well is the role of the African youth in promoting nuclear technologies, and what opportunities as well do you see for collaboration between African youth and the BRICS on energy and nuclear issues?
Thank you so much, Joyce, for that beautiful introduction. Thank you. Greetings, everyone, fellow speakers, conference participants, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for inviting me today to be part of the Colloquium on Energy Geopolitics. It's the first time being invited here, Joyce. Thank you. And it's really an absolute honor to just come before you. I'm not standing anyway, to come before you as the founder of Africa for Nuclear, representing the vibrant voices of African youth in the nuclear arena. The question posed by Josh to me regarding collaboration between African youth and BRICS on energy and nuclear issues as a whole is not just a question, but it's a call to action, and an opportunity really to shape the future. In our interconnected world, collaboration is not merely a choice, it's imperative. African youth stands at the nexus of innovation and potential. As Africa for Nuclear, we see collaboration with BRICS nations as catalyst for progress. And I'll tell you why. Number one, knowledge exchange, which stands out as a cornerstone. Our youth bring fresh perspectives, and the BRICS nations, almost all of them, they offer rich experiences. Imagine a transformative power of sharing insights, lessons learned, and the best practices. This synergy can really propel us to beyond the conventional boundaries of nuclear energy. And the second one is joint research initiatives, which are the heartbeat of progress. By pooling our intellectual resources, we can tackle shared challenges, be it in power, reactor technology, waste management, and even safety protocols. Collaboration is not just about sharing successes, but it's also about navigating setbacks together, emerging stronger and more resilient. Thirdly, as per the first democratic president of South Africa, Mr. Nelson Mandela, education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world. So establishing programs that empower African youth with the latest knowledge in nuclear science and technology is not just an investment in individuals, but a commitment to collective advancement of our societies. Let us build bridges of learning that connect our youth to the vast expertise within BRICS nations. And the last one really I'd like to talk about is mentorship, which is a torch passing from seasoned experts to the aspiring minds of tomorrow. The BRICS nations have a wealth of experience in the nuclear realm. And by fostering mentorship programs, we ensure that wisdom and guidance are not lost, but rather passed down to those who will lead the next wave of innovations. As I conclude, Joyce, I'd like to say that the opportunities for collaboration between African youth and BRICS on energy and nuclear issues are boundless. It's not just about addressing the challenges we face today, but it's also about co-creating a future where clean, sustainable, and innovation nuclear energy is a driving force for the progress. Let us all, Latinos, I'm calling all of you, let us embark on this journey together, bridging our continents, generations, and ideas. Thank you so much again for inviting me today, and I wish you all a successful conference.
Thank you so very much, Princey. As always, very important as well remarks, but also like it's so exciting as well to see a women leading the sector, and as well that you're promoting, and actually like you're as well a role model for several women in Latin America. So we are here in the room as well. I'm sharing the room with the colleagues and the organizers, and everybody's very excited as well because we have few times as well that not just youth, but also like academics, private sector, and also youth can gather certain representatives and focal voices from BRICS. So we are very honored for this, and we hope next year, again, as it was mentioned by Alex, we're going to have the Clean Energy Ministerial in Foz do Iguaçu. So we hope next year you're going to be here with us as well, joining us in October. We're working on that. But thank you so very much. So right now I'm going to introduce and present Mujib, and then we're going to open the floor for the questions we're receiving from the participants, from the line participants. So thank you very much. So Mujib, welcome. And I just want to introduce you. He's a management consultant advising governments and utilities in their energy transition journey. He's an engineer by training. His previous engagements include serving intergovernmental organizations like the United Nations Economic Commission for Europe, the South Asian Association for Regional Cooperation, and the Sustainable Energy Division. But he also plays an active role in youth empowerment through his engagements as a global chaper with the World Economic Forum, the BRICS Youth Energy Agency, and the SDG 7 Youth Constituency as part of the United Nations Major Group for Children and Youth. And also he was one of the members that created the Youth Sustainable Energy Hub, which is the first global platform for youth action in sustainable energy. So also recently, he's been recognized as the future for sustainability leader in Masdar for the Abu Dhabi Energy Company. So we are very honored to have you as well, Mujib, and also a little bit focusing not just in youth, but also in our role. As we mentioned, the activities you have been involved as the Youth Sustainable Energy Hub. I also want to ask, how do you believe that cooperation between young people from the different regions, especially BRICS and Latin America, different cultures, can contribute to facing the global energy and climate challenges? And also as well, asking how do you also envision the agenda as well for kind of youth and BRICS for the following years?
Thank you so much, Joyce, for the kind introduction. Greetings, everyone. I'm joining you today from the United Arab Emirates, the host for COP28. It's an absolute pleasure to be part of the Colloquium with an esteemed panel with some really interesting thoughts and insights. So let me begin by sharing some details about the SDG 7 Youth Constituency that I'm representing today. So the SDG 7 Youth Constituency is the energy working group of the major group of children and youth, which is mandated by the United Nations to facilitate youth engagement with review of the Sustainable Development Goals. Now, the constituency acts as a global network of youth in energy, and we currently have representation from more than 100 countries. And we work with international organizations in energy and climate change, such as the International Renewable Energy Agency, Sustainable Energy for All, and UN entities, to name a few, to promote meaningful youth engagement. Now, let me stress upon the word meaningful. I think as a constituency, our work is to ensure that youth have a platform where, be it policy advocacy, capacity building, or the various other work streams that we have in terms of knowledge sharing, that you play a fundamental and driving role in moving the agenda forward. So reflecting on my experience now, I've been part of the constituency for over 3 years, and I worked extensively on like various projects, be it working with leading international organizations, government agencies to design and deliver the youth forums, working on technical reports related to energy and climate change, and as Joyce mentioned, co-leading Youth Sustainable Energy Hub, which is the first online global platform for youth action in sustainable energy. Now, during all these engagements, I've been fortunate to collaborate with youth from different cultures, regions, and backgrounds that are passionate towards the energy transition and bringing about a positive change in society. I firmly believe that collaborations are not just good to have, rather essential for the world to move towards a low carbon future for all. In doing so, let me highlight the 3 key reasons why I believe so. Now, the first is the youth bring to the table innovative and unique solutions that are cultural sensitive. Now, when we work with youth from different backgrounds and collaborate in terms of coming up with ideas towards common challenges, I think what's very unique and interesting is that youth oftentimes have shared their innovative and unique solutions that can be replicated and scaled across geography, but keeping in mind the cultural sensitivities. Now, these include local solutions with a global impact. Secondly, community empowerment. Now, youth build partnerships with local and diverse communities to design the pathways for including community in technology adoption. Now, this could be the deployment of renewable energies in remote communities as youth acts as agents of change in bringing forward the need for collaboration of communities. And the third and the most important is raising awareness. Now, when youth from different backgrounds work together, they amplify the collective voice and increase awareness on projects and campaigns to a wider audience. Hence, their collective efforts can lead to a unified voice to influence global decision makers. So these are like the 3 key points that I've highlighted when it comes to youth collaboration from different backgrounds and cultures and how we can work collectively together in addressing some of the key challenges and issues. Now, to summarize, I would like to reiterate the essential role that youth have played in terms of their role and involvement as active stakeholders. And the call to action would be to leverage the existing youth networks that we have, be part of sessions and seminars that we're having. And congratulations to the team here for hosting the Colloquium. I think platforms like these actually give an opportunity for youth from different parts of the world to come together to share ideas and work collectively towards addressing the global challenges that we have today. So I'll just keep it short for now. And if there are any questions, more than happy to take that. And once again, thanks for having me, Joyce. Over to you.
Thank you so very much. I think it was a comprehensive perspective, and you also brought several topics, especially sometimes we don't seem to associate as well youth with researchers, youth with policymakers, youth with change makers. And I think this is something that we are also trying to change within the BRICS community. And actually, one of the first questions that we have from the audience, it is, what do you think? This is a question for everybody. I know you might have mentioned the answer, but what do you think are the main challenges for the energy transition in the BRICS countries, and how is the youth engagement policies are setting up the transition from the green jobs logic? So I think I'm translating from Portuguese. So pretty much the question is in 2 parts. So the first one is, what do you think are the main challenges for the energy transition in the BRICS countries? And how are the BRICS countries implementing youth policies to support youth to access to green jobs for the energy transition? I'm going to try to write it down in the chat. So I don't know who wants to go first. Maybe Princey, you want to go ahead?
Sorry, Joyce. You might have to repeat the question again.
Yeah, no problem. So it is, well, 2 questions. So the first one is, what do you think are the main challenges for energy transition in the BRICS countries, and how the BRICS countries are implementing youth policies for youth engagement in the green jobs towards energy transition?
Oh, I'd like to speak about Africa, really, not BRICS nations, because I may be a South African, which is part of BRICS, but yeah, I represent a whole continent, and the challenges that we face as Africa, not as BRICS, as Africa, with regards to our energy transition, is that we have policies that are influenced from somewhere else. We even though it seems like we make our own decisions when it comes to energy policies or the implementation thereof, it's not really us. We are influenced by the Western nations, and mainly because they bring funding, number one. They bring money to the African continent, and therefore, as you know, the saying, he who pays the piper calls the tune. yeah, that's the situation really, to say those who are funding the energy programs on the African continent, they dictate on what energy sources that should be used. So hence you find the African continent a dark continent. We still have about 600 million people here on the African continent of 1.5 billion people that do not have access to electricity. So the biggest challenge is lack of electricity. Most people are not powered. So yeah. And then when we speak about the second question, Joyce, was about the green agenda.
Yeah, it was basically about kind of certain policies for youth engagement in green jobs, like maybe about not just policies but investments for the countries that you represent. What are the countries doing as well, like to set up the transition from the capacity building perspective as well and the technical training?
Okay, another issue that is big altogether. But what really our countries are doing in terms of involving the youth in or capacitating the youth in terms of green jobs, we are seeing African countries that have taken a stand. Many of them, like Ghana, Rwanda, Uganda, Kenya, who have said we are going to build nuclear power plants. And I put nuclear under green, as Europe has done. It falls under green technologies because it's a clean technology. So by looking at those countries, you can see that there's a nuclear global renaissance, and which will demand that youth is capacitated. So we really need to build the skills and that will take over these nuclear power plants, because we may be here now, but if we build a nuclear power plant, by the time maybe if you switch it on, you are no longer a youth. So we need to build the skills, because there are promising programs that will happen in Africa in terms of green energy. And those programs, they demand that we capacitate the youth. And we have signed countries, many countries in Africa, like South Africa, Rwanda, Uganda, Zambia, they have signed collaboration or cooperation agreements with countries such as Russia, China, South Korea, France, and many countries, where they take young people to go study overseas. And that's capacity building. And those people, when they come back here, if they do come back, hopefully they do, they will then take over these big projects that are going to happen on the African continent and implement them. So we have cooperation agreements with different countries abroad. I hope I answered the question.
Yeah, perfect. This is perfect. Thank you so very much. So maybe, Fabio, you want to go ahead with the question?
Well, it's not my specialty, but as I said before, I think a great challenge. The presence of large oil producers and consumers in the group makes it difficult to build an energy transition proposal. However, it's possible to use the resources from these sources for further researches on renewable energy. Yeah, I think it's a young engagement about new researches and new possibilities. It's very interesting. Yeah, I think Brazil has the know-how about these questions. I think with a lot of optimism about the new proposal, the new synergy among these countries, in my opinion. But it's not my specialization.
No problem. Thank you very much. And also, last but not least, Mujib, would you like to complement regarding this question?
Sure. I think I would just like to add to what has been said from a different perspective and lens. I think I would like to take a step back and look at it from like a policymaker's perspective from a country in the global south, which is a whose economy is growing quite rapidly. And I think so one of the key challenges that they have is how do you balance the energy trilemma? The energy trilemma consists of energy security, energy affordability, and environmental sustainability. Now, we know that with COP28, countries are gearing towards increasing their ambition, towards moving towards renewable energy. But at the same time, we have to make sure that how does countries factor in the whole energy security, but most importantly, energy affordability, because we have a large population, we have a growing economy, we need businesses to thrive, we need people to move towards having a better quality of life for themselves. I think when we look at it from a different perspective and different angle, there are various things that governments need to consider and do to ensure that energy is firstly provided to all its citizens, but also at an affordable rate. So I think that is one of the things that need to be considered. And second thing, on the point of like green jobs and the future of jobs, I think this year the World Economic Forum came up with the Future of Jobs report 2023, where they highlighted like the green transition is one of the main driving factors for the change in jobs. And I think green skills is something that is going to be in need for the next 5 years. So I think it's just for youth to look into what are the upcoming resources, the jobs, and the green skills. I think it's a multi-stakeholder approach that's required here. It requires governments to work with the private industry in terms of public-private partnerships. We could need setting up of accelerators for youth projects where they can have support, mentorship, also finance that's available for specific youth projects where they can go ahead and implement and pilot their projects that they have related to climate change, energy sustainability. Also probably having some sort of a program where youth have the ability to gain some specific skills that they're looking forward to that would help them in the near future. So these were like the quick reflections that I had.
Perfect. Thank you very much. And we have also a final question regarding actually COP, and it is how do you envision as well the ambitions regarding energy transition for this COP? What are the perspectives you have, and first either from your countries and from the BRICS communities? What do you think it's going to be the panorama at COP at the end of the year? So maybe that you were talking about COP, you want to go ahead and answer this?
Sure, I think I'll take it first, given the fact that I'm based in the UAE, which is the host for COP28. And I think over the past couple of months, there's been quite a lot of momentum. A few weeks ago, I was in New York for the New York Climate Week. There also, we had the COP presidency have lots of engagements with different stakeholders and different approaches. So I think it'd be a bit too early for me to comment as to like what would be the tangible outcomes, but I can just share my experience of the whole vision. I think Dr. Sultan Al-Jaber, recently the president designate for COP28, mentioned that the ambition for 1.5 degrees should be the North Star for everyone to work towards. And the approach that UAE is taking that it has to be inclusive, it has to be just, and it has to be actionable in a way in which no one is left behind. But at the same time, you cannot pick and choose players who will play an important role in this transition and the role towards climate change. So overall, I think the message is that we will work collectively with all stakeholders to make this happen. It's quite ambitious. Things are looking quite promising. But I think I'll just pause for now. But if you need further details, I think it's quite available on the COP28 website. If you're planning to visit here, we'd love to like say hi and meet you all if you're planning to be here in Abu Dhabi. But yeah, that's all I have for now.
Thank you very much. Maybe Princey, what is your perspective?
Well, with regards to my country, for the past two COPs, we've really not had the best news. But I'm hoping, because after the last COP, we were able to come up with a just energy transition investment plan, which was approved at the last COP. And that plan, unfortunately, excludes nuclear. So for me, that's not the best news, because then if you are going to transition, and I believe that the transition has to be just, as Munib just said. And if the transition excludes nuclear or any other baseload sources, then that transition is not just. We've recently experienced a situation in South Africa where a coal power plant was shut down, And as they shut down the coal power plant, they retrofitted it with renewables. I mean, it was wind and solar and battery energy storage system. The coal power plant gave us 1 gigawatt of power. They replaced it with these three things that gave us 300 megawatts of electricity, and many people lost jobs in the process. So to me, there's nothing just about that, and by advocating for nuclear, those are things that I'm trying to avoid, to say we don't want to leave ghost towns, and also we don't want people to lose jobs. And we know the situation in Africa with unemployment rate, which is very high. So the just energy transition, for me, the energy transition that is just is the one that includes nuclear and hydro in situations where hydro is needed, and even gas, by the way. So I'm hoping that when the leaders of the African nations go to COP28, they will emphasize on the importance of the dispatchable power, the dispatchable energy source, which comes basically from South Africa, really, which, since we have water scarcity problem from us, it can just come from nuclear. So I'm hoping that COP 2028, I hear more of the word nuclear. Yes, thanks.
Thank you so very much again, and also for representing the African continent as well. I think for us Latin America, we need to start as well cooperating more, understanding, and looking for more as well, perspectives from the different regions. We also criticize that sometimes we are kind of disconnected, but we understand as well that we have certain common challenges, but also we want to learn as well from what Africa is as well doing, as we see a cooperation that unfortunately we still don't have in Latin America. Our university is trying to work towards a Latin American union or cooperation. So talking in these matters of Latin American cooperation, the Latin American perspectives for COP28, Professor Fabio, would you like to take on these questions? How do you see COP28 for us? Also for energy transition, what will be the position as well of Brazil negotiating at COP?
Thanks so much for the question. Maybe I can answer in Portuguese. You translate it. What do you think? Because it's a very hard question for me in technical terms.
No problem.
Okay?
So just if you want, we can do some translations. So just don't forget, I'll translate. But yeah, go ahead.
Ok. Bom, eu vejo o novo Banco de Desenvolvimento dos BRICS como um grande instrumento da promoção da economia verde. Não sei se você quer começar por aí. Ok. Ao final você pode resumir. Então, eu vejo nos BRICS a preocupação com as questões climáticas desde o início. E o novo Banco de Desenvolvimento dos BRICS enfatiza muito essa questão. Eles só dão financiamentos para projetos que tenham essa preocupação, que tenham estudos relacionados à sustentabilidade. Por outro lado, é um momento muito bom para a política externa brasileira, porque ele pode atuar tanto nos BRICS como no G20, e ao mesmo tempo ele sediará a COP30 em Brasília, a primeira COP dentro da região amazônica, em uma cidade amazônica. Isso é muito simbólico. Pela primeira vez, pensar a questão ambiental desde a Amazônia. Então, eu vejo uma grande possibilidade de cooperação entre esses países. Acho que os temas ambientais têm uma centralidade nos BRICS muito importante, e o Brasil pode ser um grande interlocutor entre diferentes grupos, especialmente nessa conferência 30, né, que será no Brasil em 2025. Acho que por aí.
Thank you so much. Muito obrigada. So basically, Professor Fabio expressed that the BRICS Development Bank is also doing heavy investments regarding energy transition, and is also promoting and catalyzing the energy transition agenda as well. cooperation as well. As we also have the president of the BRICS Bank is as well like one of our ex-presidents, Dilma Rousseff. So it is great as well, like a great momentum. And then we see a great panorama for the Brazilian external relationships in order to prepare, right, to host a COP in the Amazon. Again, we just mentioned about the Amazon is not just geopolitical position and strategic regarding the environment, the climate regulation, but also as well as Brazil being an interconnection with several countries and several communities and convening dialogue. So let's see how it's gonna be everything. I think what I can tell you from civil society as well has been a lot mobilization. And I think that as our country is also very big, understanding that having these kind of events in other regions, as well as bringing people, because everybody talks about the Amazon, but people do not know how the Amazon looks and how the reality is there as well. So even understanding a little bit the modus operandi of the region would allow to be more inclusive in several politics. So thank you very much for everybody. It's just been such a great session. I think we got a lot more questions and answers. I will also, we're going to share your social media handles if it's okay with the participants as well, so they can keep the conversation going. As well, your organizations, we're going to drop the links as well of the different organizations, like Africa for Nuclear, the SDG 7 Youth Constituency, UNIL as well, the BRICS Observatory, which is as well one of the organizers of this event. And then we're just going to pass now to a session in Spanish and Portuguese, where we're going to explain a little bit the story of the Latin American Observatory of Geopolitics of Energy. So for now, thank you very much. Muito obrigada for your participation. It's been very, very productive, and I think we have a lot of ideas on what to cooperate. So feel free to stay if you want as well. We're just going to switch languages at the moment. And we hope to see you as well at COP and on the future negotiations, and as well to welcome you in Brazil in the next 2 years as well.
Congratulations, everyone. Thank you so much, Joyce.
Thank you so much. So just please feel free to stay if you want. We're just gonna a gente vai falar agora em português e em espanhol. Acho que temos vários participantes latino-americanos, né? E a ideia era também fazer uma transição, a gente apresentar um pouquinho o que é o observatório, né? Aproveitando essa ponte, né, que o professor Fábio também fez, de a gente pensar, né, as perspectivas globais, e a gente tendo uma agenda, né, de COP, de G20, de negociações dos BRICS, do Clean Energy Ministerial, que vai ser um evento que vai acontecer em Foz também o próximo ano, que como observatório vamos estar participando e trabalhando por trazer essa inclusão juvenil. Então, eu vou compartilhar aqui a tela, vai ser uma apresentação muito rápida.
Thank you so much, Joyce. Obrigado. Eu vou assistir agora pelo YouTube, então.
Obrigado, prof. Obrigado. So, por equipo técnico, se vocês podem apresentar a minha tela, por favor. Bueno, ahora sí creo que vamos a pasar un poquito al español. Y la idea un poquito es presentar quiénes somos nosotros, presentar un poquito ese trabajo que hemos hecho. Pues las presentaciones la tenemos en portugués, pero vamos a seguir un poquito al español. Antes de seguir, también recordarle a los participantes que, bueno, los que están inscritos por nuestra plataforma DOITI van a recibir su certificado de participación. Quien nos está viendo por YouTube, les pedimos también que se inscriban, aunque los videos van a quedar grabados en YouTube. Hoy tenemos toda una programación muy diversa en español y en portugués, y eventualmente tenemos algunos participantes que hablarán en inglés debido a la internacionalidad de la comunidad de los BRICS. Entonces, inicialmente, el Observatorio Latinoamericano de la Geopolítica de la Energía es un grupo de estudios académico, pero también que incluye, obviamente, juventudes e investigadores en los diferentes sectores. Entonces, tienen una imagen un poquito aquí de nuestros partners, de nuestros aliados. estamos dentro de la UNILA, pero dentro del Núcleo de Estudios Estratégicos de la misma universidad. Como Mujib nos hablaba, también tenemos una alianza con el grupo constitutivo de ODS 7 y de Juventud, el grupo Student Energy, que es una organización internacional de alfabetización energética, el grupo de la Agencia Juvenil de los BRICS, y también pues tenemos también a nuestra compañera Karen, que nos ayuda con toda la cuestión de eventos y que también hace la gestión de este evento, que también es posible. Y de hecho también quería agradecerle no solo a ella, pero también a nuestro equipo organizador. Tenemos varios voluntarios que han hecho posible este espacio. Son muchísimos, así que básicamente solo quería agradecerle también a Víctor, a César, a Franco, a Cauano, a Marcelo, Cayo, Gilka, Yamila, Jonathan, a Katia, Mateo, Sara, Sebastián, Bianca y Yuri por hacer ocurrir este evento, porque realmente es mucho trabajo, pero realmente somos la juventud queriendo promover también esa transición energética. Bueno, ya para hablar un poquito dónde está ubicado nuestro observatorio, está dentro del Núcleo de Estudios Estratégicos, el NIGI, donde están otros observatorios también dentro de la UNILA. Y nosotros básicamente nacimos en un espacio dentro de una clase de la UNILA, donde estábamos varios latinoamericanos, y donde nos dimos cuenta que necesitamos un espacio de mayor, no solo conversación, pero entender la realidad energética de nuestros países. Entonces, esto ocurrió aproximadamente en 2017, que por medio de la coordinación y dirección del doctor profesor Lucas Kerr, se registró el observatorio como un proyecto de investigación y de extensión dentro de la Universidad Federal de la Integración Latinoamericana. Y bueno, desde ahí tuvimos como ese propósito también de crear una plataforma para difundir la información de forma accesible, gratuita, abierta, con esa visión de geopolítica energética dentro de América Latina, especialmente en la región de Mercosur. Y tenemos varios ejes temáticos en los cuales trabajamos, desde cooperación técnica, procesos de integración energética regional, transición tecnológica, conflictos y guerra por recursos energéticos, innovación tecnológica, cooperación por medio de la infraestructura energética, geopolítica energética desde la perspectiva de cooperación e integración, pero también geopolítica energética de los países emergentes de los BRICS, que es el tema que nos estamos especializando en este coloquio. Y básicamente tenemos varias actividades, desde investigación, producción de artículos, bases de datos, preservación de documentos, divulgación, alfabetización energética, que es este espacio que hacemos también para la sociedad civil abierta, pero también traducción y creación de materiales, buscando también conectarnos dentro de nuestra realidad latinoamericana, dentro de esos sistemas como BRICS y otros también grupos. Y tal vez no nos queremos expandir, pero hablar un poquito que este es el quinto coloquio de Geopolítica de la Energía, que iniciamos inicialmente con concursos, básicamente con espacios complementarios también para la creación de capacidades y de formación de habilidades, no solo dentro del sector energético, pero dentro del sector de geopolítica. Hemos organizado en el pasado eventos gigantes, ¿verdad? Como un seminario de integración de estudios estratégicos de geopolítica e integración regional, donde participaron varios de nuestros miembros que llegaron también al observatorio. Hemos tenido espacios también para divulgar un poquito de nuevo, para trabajar en esa agenda de los BRICS, pero también aterrizar a la realidad. Por ejemplo, nosotros organizamos el primer debate público dentro de lo que es el Itaipú del lado brasileño y paraguayo, discutiendo la renegociación del acuerdo C de Itaipú. Y también tenemos otros partners en otras regiones, como en Paraguay. Hemos podido también contribuir varias veces al informe de energía de los BRICS y de juventud. Y también hemos hecho algunos manuales de energía renovable en portugués para América Latina y el Caribe, como parte de proyectos también juveniles, pero de transición energética. Tuvimos nuestro tercer coloquio de geopolítica de la energía. Son unos de los datos, ¿verdad? De tener también participantes de más de 18 países, de 4 continentes, y eso es lo que queremos también traer un poquito esta internacionalización, y no solo que se quede en discusión, sino que de ahí se han derivado varios proyectos también. Entonces, siempre nos mantenemos activos con lives, también en nuestras redes sociales, así que para que también ustedes se queden pendientes si quieren participar. De pronto, si son investigadores de una área y les interesa colaborar con el observatorio, estamos también abiertos para este proceso, para recibirlos, y hemos también diseñado espacios no solo para juventudes también, pero para niñeces, porque es importante tener ese proceso de alfabetización energética desde la infancia para poder entender y poder vincular también a la juventud en la toma de decisiones de los estudios de esta área. Hemos también, junto con el Observatorio Ambiental MGIMO-University de la UNILA, también desarrollado un curso de verano de alfabetización energética, y actualmente, como Mujib nos presentaba, estamos dentro de lo que es el Hub de Energía Sostenible. Somos uno de los proyectos que está participando y que está representando también la región. Y a los pocos hemos caminado también en este sector, ¿verdad?, internacional, participando desde las COIs, que son las conferencias internacionales de la juventud, pero que ocurren antes de las COPs. Entonces, en esta COPs poder tener también juventudes más preparadas en el área de con países como México, como Perú, y también trabajamos en un proceso de la primera cumbre latinoamericana de estudiantes de la energía, también discutiendo las diferentes realidades, las diferentes perspectivas, y también hemos trabajado con agencias como IRENA, también UNICEF, en espacios, en consultas públicas para creación también de nuevo de materiales, y varios también de nuestros miembros han participado en espacios como la Atom Expo y otras exposiciones internacionales, también presentando y representando a la región, como lo que es también las negociaciones de IRENA, que es la Organización Internacional de Energía Renovable, que hacen un espacio de encuentro también de juventudes dentro de espacios de negociaciones de energía. Entonces también hemos participado en todo el proceso del foro juvenil, pero también tuvimos una de nuestras delegaciones van a ser casi 2 meses, que estuvieron en África del Sur participando de lo que es la cúpula, la cumbre de juventudes y de energía de los BRICS. Entonces ahí es donde también pudimos conocer a varios de los disertantes que van a tener en estos días, y la idea es aprovechar, tener esas perspectivas. Y al final también les queríamos presentar un proyecto que tenemos, que no solo nosotros estamos pensando en la transición energética desde una visión académica, pero también desde una visión práctica. Entonces, básicamente, desde la pandemia, lo que hicimos fue tener un espacio también de poder crear un proyecto comunitario. Una de nuestras miembros, como miembro de la UNILA, ella durante la pandemia se volvió a su lugar donde vive, que es una comunidad básicamente indígena en el Amazonas peruano, y no tenía acceso a electricidad o internet. Entonces, lo que hicimos fue hacer un proyecto básico de instalación de una placa fotovoltaica, también de un satélite, para que ella tuviese acceso también y poderse comunicar y poder continuar con sus estudios. Sin embargo, no podríamos ignorar la realidad de la comunidad, siendo que son 40 familias aproximadamente que requerían este acceso a electricidad, a internet. Entonces, con uno de nuestros partners pudimos escalar el proyecto. Aquí está Rosana, ella también nos va a estar acompañando y presentando este proyecto en el día miércoles, y siempre estuvimos trabajando paralelamente con la comunidad en los procesos de consulta e integración, y esas imágenes son las imágenes que tomamos casi hace 2 meses también aproximadamente, donde finalizamos la instalación de la primera fase, que es el acceso a internet de la comunidad, también en esos estudios técnicos, cómo llevar todas las placas fotovoltaicas, la logística de transporte a esta región. Y como ven en esta imagen, se está construyendo una escuelita, entonces la idea es que también se tenga acceso a información e internet. Seguiremos en una segunda etapa donde la idea es promover y llevar acceso a electricidad básicamente a todas las familias de esta comunidad. Y bueno, queremos después de esto también escribir y posiblemente crear manuales de cómo hacer proyectos off-grid, ¿verdad? Fuera de la red, en regiones bien aisladas, como es el caso de la Amazonía peruana. Así que eso es un poquito de lo que es el observatorio. Realmente estamos muy felices de tener nuestro 5º coloquio y estamos también de cumpleaños del observatorio. Creo que vamos a hacer 7 años, casi 7 años del observatorio, si no estoy mal. Así que felicidades también para el equipo y también para ustedes que tienen interés de participar, saben dónde conectarnos, dónde mandarnos mensajes, también por nuestras redes sociales, síganos y feliz coloquio. Vamos a tener varias actividades. Nuestra próxima actividad es a las 2 de la tarde, ¿verdad? Tenemos nuestra próxima actividad, así que por favor participen por Doiti, discúlpeme, y también por transmisión a YouTube. Así que, bueno, eso era un poquito lo que queríamos presentar y agradecerles también su participación. Así que si no hay, bueno, preguntas o dudas, los esperamos a las 2 de la tarde. Así que muchísimas gracias a todas y todos. Hasta luego.